Hello. Today, I am going to teach you about the importance of food safety and how to keep your food safe. Food safety is a topic that pertains to all of us. According to the CDC, every year, 1 in 6 Americans, or 48 million people, get sick. 128,000 people are hospitalized, and 3,000 people die because of foodborne diseases. The goal of this presentation, then, is to provide you with the knowledge for safe food consumption. I will do so by covering 3 points. The first point is the history of food safety. The second point is how to buy your food and product recalls. And the third point is food safety practices at home. I'm going to start with my first point, the history of food safety. In the 1960s, the Pillsbury Company created HACCP for NASA. HACCP stands for Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Points. It is a system that assesses the hazards related to a food process, and based on those hazards, it creates programs to prevent them from happening. Initially, HACCP was implemented to keep astronauts safe on missions. However, it was implemented in food processing establishments in the United States in 1994. I'm also going to tell you about the food safety outbreak that happened in 1993. So in 1993, the restaurant chain Jack in the Box received contaminated ground beef with E. coli 0157H7. If you're not familiar with this specific strain of E. coli, you can find it in ground beef and in lettuce. It can also cause hemolytic uremic syndrome. So what happened was that Jack in the Box received the contaminated ground beef and they didn't cook it at the right temperature. To give you a brief background, regulations back then did not have a minimum internal cooking temperature for ground beef. So Jack in the Box were cooking their temperature at approximately 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Unbeknownst to them, E. coli doesn't die until it reaches a temperature of 160 degrees Fahrenheit. So they didn't cook their meat right and they fed it to their customers. So 730 people were hospitalized and 4 children died. Because of this tragic incident, the United States was forced to change its whole view and its whole panorama, and it was forced to change its food safety regulations. And that's why HACCP was implemented in 1994. The United States government did not want an outbreak like this happening again. I'm going to move to my second point, buying food products and product recalls. The United States has strict labeling regulations, especially when it comes to allergens. So if you have an allergy, you have to pay attention to what's in your label. So you have to make informed decisions. For example, if you're allergic to nuts and you see a product that says made in facility where nuts are processed, it might not be a good idea to purchase that product. Currently, Americans are focused on organic and organic-based food products, so I'm going to teach you the difference between organic and made with organic ingredients. So, organic produce is produce that was grown on soil that had no prohibited substances applied for 3 years prior to harvest. Organic meat is meat made from animals raised in living conditions accommodating to their natural behaviors. These animals were also fed 100% organic beef, and they were not administered antibiotics or hormones. The statement made with organic ingredients pertains to products which contain at least 70% organically produced ingredients. So therefore, knowing all of this information, you have to make informed decisions when buying your product. I'm also going to tell you about product recall. I'm going to start with one of my favorite examples. So in November of 2018, Australian consumers were finding needles in their strawberries, and after a thorough investigation by the police, in which they used groundbreaking DNA fingerprinting techniques, they found out that a former employee of the company was placing the needles as a form of revenge. It is important that as a consumer, you are aware of the products that are being recalled. If you go to the FSIS website, you can actually find which products are being recalled in the United States. For example, in this example, we have ready-to-eat chicken that's been recalled because of an undeclared allergen. In this other example, we have meat products that are being recalled because of possible foreign material contamination. And as a viewer and as a consumer, you might wonder, why are you telling me all of this? What are the chances that this is going to happen to me? Why would I care? It's very unlikely that I'm going to find a foreign object in my food. Well, let me tell you, this actually happened to me. Oops. So 2 years ago, I found a wood chip in my granola bar. Unfortunately, it was not a food safety hazard. However, if something like this happens to you, you have to keep the evidence and you have to document. If you received harm because of this foreign object, you have to contact your attorney or your lawyer immediately. And I cannot emphasize it enough. You need to document what happened. Finally, I am going to move to my third point, food safety at home. When it comes to keeping your food safe, rule number 1 is to keep your food refrigerated. For example, you can keep meat and poultry at a 45 degrees Fahrenheit or less. This is because most bacteria cannot grow in cold environments. And acquiring a fridge thermometer might not be a bad idea. This is to ensure that your product stays at the adequate temperature. Also, you have to cook your meat and your food at the right temperature. Salmonella and E. coli die at a temperature of 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Therefore, if you're cooking chicken or if you're cooking ground beef, it is important to ensure that they reach an internal temperature of 160 degrees. When it comes to beef roast and steak, 145 degrees Fahrenheit are sufficient, as long as you let the meat rest for an additional 3 minutes. And remember, Jack in the Box, the whole outbreak happened because they did not cook the beef patties at the right temperature. I am also going to teach you about processing aids. In food processing facilities, they usually use what they call processing aids to kill bacteria. Most processing aids are organic acids. For example, vinegar is an organic acid. Its scientific name is acetic acid. And you can actually use vinegar at home to rinse your fruits and vegetables. So if you use 2/3 of water and 1/3 of vinegar, you can use this solution to wash your fruits and vegetables. Also, if you like to make homemade salsas, you can add a little bit of vinegar to make them last longer. Finally, I taught you about the importance of food safety and how to keep your food safe. I did so by covering 3 points: the history of food safety, buying product and product recall, and finally, food safety at home. We should always strive to consume safe food products. Most of us have families and we want to provide them safe and wholesome food products. So by reviewing these 3 points, we can protect our families and we can protect our loved ones from foodborne illnesses and food-related incidents. Thank